Now we will study electrostatic potential due to a dipole. We are already familiar with what is a dipole. A pair of equal and opposite charges separated by a small distance constitutes a dipole. The net charge of the dipole is 0 because one is positive charge, another one is negative charge, therefore total charge is 0. Then what is the characteristic of the dipole? A dipole is characterized by a quantity called dipole moment. This dipole moment is the product of either of the charge and the distance of separation. Therefore, the dipole, we have a dipole, its dipole moment is given by 2AQ. 2A is the distance between the two charges and Q is either of the charge. It is a vector quantity, its direction is always from negative charge towards the positive charge. Now look here, the dipole moment P is from negative charge towards the positive charge. Now we will consider a midpoint O as the center of the dipole. Now here our aim is to find the electrostatic potential at any arbitrary point P as shown in that diagram. Now consider some arbitrary point P with the position vector R from the midpoint of the dipole as shown in the diagram. Then let me take distance of positive charge from the point as R1, distance of point P from the negative charge as R2. Now we have to find out what is the potential at the point P due to the two charge system. That we will work out by writing two equations independently for the two charges. Okay, we know the expression for the potential. Now write it for independent charges. Let me take the positive charge. It is at a distance R1 from the point P. Therefore, potential at P due to the positive charge, let me write it as V plus is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into charge Q divided by distance charge Q divided by distance, it is R1. Similarly, for the negative charge, let me write it as V minus. Negative charge, it is minus Q, it is at a distance R2. So it is given by 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, since potential is a scalar quantity, we have to consider the sign also. That means if the charge is minus, then we have to take minus Q. While studying in the case of electric field and electrostatic force, we are only using the magnitude. The sign only indicates the direction of the field or the force. But here potential is a vector, scalar quantity. Therefore, we have to consider the minus charge, minus sign also. So therefore, divided by R2. Now the potential due to positive charge, potential due to the negative charge. Now similar to that of in the case of electric field and electrostatic force, which obeys principle of superposition. The same principle of superposition also holds good for the case of potential. Therefore, according to the principle of superposition, since it is a scalar quantity, the total potential is the algebraic sum of the potential due to the individual charges. Therefore, total potential is equal to V plus V minus. It is the algebraic sum. Now substitute the values. Now look here, Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is common in both the cases. So therefore, let me write it one. So Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, it is common in the two expressions. Now in the first expression, we are left with 1 by R1, 1 by R1. In the second expression, we are left with minus 1 by R2, minus 1 by R2. Let me call it as some equation 1. Now this is the total potential at the point P due to the two charges. Now I have to replace 1 by R1 and 1 by R2 in terms of known value, that is R. Now make use of the cosine rule. Now consider this triangle first containing R1. Then by using cosine rule, we will write R1 square is equal to R square plus A square minus 2AR cos theta, where theta is the angle between this one. Theta is the angle between the dipole moment and the position vector. Now, this is the cosine rule. R1 square is equal to R square plus A square minus 2AR cos theta. From this formula, we have to write what is 1 by R1. Okay. Now, for that one, now R1 square is equal to, let me take here R square outside. If I take R square outside, now here we left with 1 plus A square by R square minus, we have taken R square outside, therefore here only R is there, therefore it becomes 2A by R cos theta, 2A by R cos theta. Now let us assume that the point P is at very larger distance compared to the separation between the two charges. For R very much greater than A, we neglect the higher order terms of A by R. So that means we are neglecting A square by R square term, because for R very much greater than A, this A square by R square term becomes very small and we will neglect it. So therefore I am getting R1 square is equal to R square into, so 1 minus 2A by R cos theta. Okay. Now we want R1. Therefore R1 is equal to R into, now square root of this one can be written as 1 minus 2A by R cos theta to the power of half. Taking the square root, we are getting this expression. Now this term becomes to the power half. We got R1, but we want 1 by R1. Now take the reciprocal. Therefore 1 by R1 is equal to 1 by R into, now reciprocal of this one means just to change the sign of the power. Now here power is plus half. If you take the reciprocal, it becomes minus half. So therefore 1 minus 2A by R into cos theta to the power of minus half after taking the reciprocal. Now from here we are going to make use of binomial expansion and neglecting the higher order terms, because we have already said R is very much greater than A. Therefore higher order terms of A by R become smaller and smaller. They can be neglected. Therefore by binomial theorem, we will expand this expression which is inside the bracket and neglecting the higher order terms. Therefore I am getting 1 by R1 is equal to 1 by R into 1 minus, we have to multiply this power to this second term, that is minus half. This power has to be multiplied to this second term, that is 2A by R into cos theta. We are getting other terms also having a square by r square, a cube by r cube, higher order terms. Since they are very small, we will neglect the higher order terms, retaining only the first order term, that is a by r. So therefore, 1 by r1 is equal to, finally we will get 1 minus of minus, it becomes plus. Now look here, 2 get cancels. It is a by r cos theta. This is according to the cosine rule. Similarly, we can write 1 by r2. So if I apply cosine rule to this expression, therefore r2 square is equal to, since it is a longer side, it becomes plus. Since here it is a smaller side, it becomes negative. For longer side, it becomes positive. The same expression, a square, r square plus a square plus 2ar cos theta. Now follow the same steps. Then finally we arrive at what is 1 by r2. Therefore 1 by r2 I am going to get is 1 by r into 1 minus the same expression with a negative sign, a by r into cos theta. Okay, 1 by r1 is this one and 1 by r2 is this one. Now substitute these two values in the equation 1 and simplify. You will get the expression for the potential. V is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, now substituting 1 by r is common here. So let me take 1 by r also common outside. Now 1 by r1 is 1 plus a by r cos theta, 1 plus a by r cos theta. Now this is minus, therefore minus 1 minus of minus plus a by r cos theta. So since it is minus, therefore it is minus 1, it becomes plus. Okay, so plus 1 minus 1 cancels. So V is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R, a by r cos theta plus a by r cos theta, that is 2a by r cos theta. Now therefore V is equal to, now rearrange the terms, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught 2aq by r square, 2aq by r square cos theta. Now that is the final expression for the potential at any arbitrary point P due to the dipole. But we know that what is 2aq? It is nothing but the dipole moment. Therefore, I will write the final expression 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, it is P by r square into cos theta. So this is the final expression for the potential. So 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into P by r square into cos theta. So therefore this potential, it depends on the angle between the position vector r and the dipole moment P. Now I will write this one further as, so V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, it is P cos theta. Therefore let me write in vector form, it is P into r cap into cos theta divided by r square. It is magnitude of r cap. Magnitude of r cap is, we know it is 1. Therefore 1 can be written as magnitude of r. If I write like that, V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, since we have cos theta, that P r cap cos theta represents dot product of dipole moment vector P dot r cap divided by r square. So P is the dipole moment and r cap is a unit vector along the position of the point from the midpoint of the dipole. Here we'll study two cases. Since we have taken arbitrary point, let me consider case 1. That is, if I take the point along the axial direction, if I take the point along this axial direction, what will be the expression for the potential? Now, if I take the point along the positive of the positive charge towards the positive charge, then what about theta? It becomes 0. If I take that point towards the negative charge, what about theta? Theta becomes 180 degree. Either it becomes 0, if it is parallel, if position vector is parallel to the dipole moment, it is theta is 0. If position vector is anti-parallel to the dipole moment, then theta is equal to 180 degree. Then in both the cases, what about cos theta becomes, for theta is equal to 0 becomes plus 1, theta is equal to 180, it becomes minus 1. Then what is the potential due to a dipole along any point and the axial line? It becomes plus or minus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into P by R square, P divided by R square. If R is parallel to P, it becomes plus. If R is anti-parallel to P, it becomes minus. This is for the axial. Now case 2. If the point is along the equatorial line, if the point P is along the equatorial line, then what will be the expression? If the point is along the equatorial line, then theta is 90 degree, then cos 90 is 0. So therefore, potential becomes 0. For the axial point, the potential expression is this one. For the equatorial point, the potential due to a dipole, it becomes 0. Now we will study two important contrasting features of potential due to a dipole as well as a point charge. Now potential due to dipole. One side we are having dipole and the other side we have point charge, that is single charge. Now let me write first the expression. What is the expression for the potential due to a dipole at any arbitrary point? Is V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, it is P divided by R square into cos theta. So P divided by R square, where P is the dipole moment. Now here due to a charge, it is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, it is Q by R. So look here, potential due to dipole, it not only depends on R, but also depends on cos theta. So V is depending on cos theta. Here what is theta? Theta is the angle between the position vector and the dipole moment. Therefore, potential not only depends on R, but also depends on the angle. If the angle varies, then potential also goes on changing. But on the other hand, due to a point charge, this potential due to a point charge is independent of angle. It is independent of the angle. So that means if you rotate that point with charge at the center, now at all the points, the potential remains the same due to a point charge. But here it has an angular dependence. But here, if it is the dipole moment, if I take this as dipole moment, now if I take this is some point P, now this is the position vector R, then if I rotate this position vector about the dipole moment, I will get a cone. Now at all the points on this cone, now here at all the points on this cone, if I calculate the potential due to a dipole, it becomes same. At all points in this circular part of this cone, the potential remains the same. But if I change the angle, that is orientation, if I change this angle, then the potential is also varying. This is the first contrasting feature. And the second one, now this potential is inversely proportional to R square. Therefore, V proportional to 1 by R square. But here, the potential is inversely proportional to 1 by R. So that means the potential due to a dipole, it falls off suddenly at larger distances because of inverse square dependence. But here it is inversely proportional to R. Here the potential suddenly falls down, here it gradually falls down. We know the relation between those two. We can write that variation of potential due to dipole. If I write Vd as the potential due to dipole and potential due to a charge, potential due to a charge like that. Now we have the solid curve represents potential due to the charge. Now dotted curve represents potential due to dipole. Now this is potential due to the charge, solid. Dotted one represents potential due to the dipole. That is the graph. These are the two important contrasting features of potential due to a dipole and due to a point charge. So far we have studied potential due to a single charge and a system of two charges, equal and opposite charges, that is dipole. Now here we are going to study potential due to a system of charges, n number of charges. Now consider a system containing n number of charges of charge q1, q2, q3, etc. q1. Let the charges be q1, q2, q3, etc. qn charges. Consider a point P at any arbitrary point P. The position vector of that point P from individual charges is R1P, R2P, R3P, etc. R1P, R2P, R3P, etc. Rnp be the position vectors of all the charges from the point P. Now you have to calculate what is the potential at P due to this n number of charge system. So that can be worked out by using the principle of superposition. That is, it is the algebraic sum of all the potentials at P due to the individual charges. Now, what is the potential at P due to the first charge? Let me write as V1. So that is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into the charge Q1 divided by position vector R1P. Okay. Now R1, R2, R3 are the positions with respect to some origin. So we have not shown that one. If I take here is some origin with respect to the origin, now this one is at R1, now this one is at R2, and this one is at R3. Okay, like that. But R1P is the position vector of the point from the charges. Now this is the potential due to the first charge. Similarly, write the potential due to the second charge. We have the equation V2 is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into charge Q2 divided by R2P. And similarly, due to the third charge, V3 is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, that is Q3 divided by R3P. Similarly, extend it for nth charge. Therefore, potential at P due to the nth charge is equal to Vn is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Qn divided by Rnp. Now, according to the principle of superposition, the total potential is, it is the algebraic sum. Therefore, total potential at P due to all the charge system is V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus etc. the nth term Vn. So here look here, substituting the values, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 divided by R1P plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 divided by R2P plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q3 divided by R3P etc. the nth term 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Qn divided by Rnp. Okay. So now I will rearrange the terms with the sigma sign. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is common. Therefore, I will take it out. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into sigma Qi divided by Rip, where I takes the values from 1 to n. Now, this is the expression for the potential at a point due to system of charges. Now, here the charges we have taken are discrete charges. So, therefore, we are using sigma notation. If in some other cases, if we have a continuous charge distribution for continuous charge distribution, if you have a system which is having a continuous charge distribution, in that case, how we are going to calculate the potential? Now, consider that region having a continuous charge distribution. Let rho is volume charge density. That is charge per unit volume of that surface, of that continuous charge distribution. Now I have to divide this one into smaller equal volumes of volume delta V. Delta V is the volume, smaller equivalent volume to which the given volume is divided, entire volume is divided. Then this volume contains how many charges? So that is, the charge in the volume is rho into delta V. This is the charge. Due to this charge, what is the potential at some point P here? Now let me consider this is delta V, small volume. Therefore, potential at that point is, we are getting V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, what is the charge? Rho into delta V divided by some distance R. Then what is the total potential due to the entire volume? Is obtained by integrating. For a discrete charges, we are using sigma notation. For the case of continuous charge distribution, we are obtaining the potential by integrating this term. Now we'll study one note. If we have a point charge, the potential due to at any point due to a point charge is given by the formula 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into charge q divided by its distance r. Now in the first chapter we have studied, if we had a spherical shell which is uniformly charged, okay, it is charged, and we have calculated the electric field for an outside point P is found to be E is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R square. Now here in this case we have assumed that the charges which are on the spherical shell are same as all the charges assumed to be concentrated at the center. So both are same. In the same manner, in the case of a spherical shell, which is uniformly charged, the potential at the point P due to the spherical shell will remain the same by assuming that all the charges are concentrated at the center. So therefore, for the case of a spherical shell, the potential at any outside point is same as potential due to a single charge given by R. Now, if the point P is on the surface of the shell, what we are going to get? If the point P is on the surface of the shell, then small r is equal to capital R, which is radius of the shell, spherical shell, radius of the spherical shell. Therefore, potential on the surface of the spherical shell is found to be Q divided by capital R. This is on the surface. This is for a point outside the spherical. Earlier we have studied that the electric field inside the spherical shell is zero because electric field is not going to enclose any charge, it is zero. Since there is no electric field inside, no work is done in moving a charge from one point to the another point inside the spherical shell. What is potential? So it is the amount of work done in moving a unit charge from one point to the another point against the field direction. Since here inside there is no field, therefore work done is zero inside. The work done in moving any charge from one point to the another point inside the spherical shell is zero. So that means inside the spherical shell, the potential is same or constant as that of on its surface. Inside the spherical shell, what is the potential? Potential remains the same as that of potential on the surface. But electric field becomes zero. So that is regarding the electric field and the electric potential in the case of a spherical shell. Now let me plot the variation of electric field and electrostatic potential with respect to the distance in the case of a spherical shell. Now up to the radius capital R, the electric field is zero. At the surface, it has a maximum value of electric field. Away from the spherical shell, it goes on decreasing. That is the curve. Similarly, the variation of potential with respect to the distance from the center of the spherical shell. Now potential inside the spherical shell is constant, and it is same as that what is on its surface, that is up to the radius of the spherical shell, or the potential is constant. Then away from the surface of the spherical shell, the potential goes on decreases. So that is the variation of electric field and electrostatic potential in the case of a spherical shell. Now we'll solve one problem. Two charges 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb and minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb are located 15 centimeters apart. At what points on the line joining the two charges is the electric potential 0? So they are given two charges. One is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 and another one is minus 2. One is positive and another one is negative. They are separated by a certain distance. It is 15 centimeters. Okay. Now we have to find out 2 points at which the potential due to the positive charge as well as the negative charge, their sum is 0. Here we have considering two cases. Now solution. Now given, what are the given things? List out. Now let me take the first charge Q1, that is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb, and second charge Q2, it is minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb. The distance of separation between the two charges is equal to 15 centimeter, that is 0.15 meter. Let us assume. Now here we will study two cases. Now case 1, the point lying between the two charges. Point between two charges. That means we have the positive charge here, that is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb. Here we have a negative charge, minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb. They are separated by a distance of 15 centimeters. Now for the first case, the point is between the two charges. Now let me assume that here is some point O. Let me consider this as some point O, at which the potential due to the positive charge and the potential due to the negative charge is 0. Now let this point is at a distance x from the positive charge. Then what is the distance of the point from the negative charge? It is obviously, it is 15 minus x. Okay. Now let me calculate in centimeter itself. Okay. Not supposed to convert it into meter. We will convert it in the final answer. Now here we have assumed at the point O between the two charges, the potential due to the system of two charges is 0. It is at a distance x from the positive charge. Then what is the distance of the point from the negative charge? It is 15 minus x. Now according to superposition principle, since it is given, the potential at O is 0. Therefore, potential due to the positive charge plus potential due to the negative charge at the point O is equal to what? It is 0. Now we know the general formula for potential. So is V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. It is the general formula. While solving the problems, we have to write the formula and then we have proceed solving. Now use this formula. Now for the positive charge, I will write here it as 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into, now this is the positive charge, 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 divided by, what is its distance? It is x. plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into the negative charge. It is minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8. Remember, since we are working out the scalar quantity potential, if the charge is negative, then take that minus sign also. Should remember this one. What is the distance? It is 15 minus x is equal to 0. Now 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is common, and also 10 to the power of minus 8 is also common. If you cross multiply that one, it get cancels. So therefore finally we left with 3 divided by x plus into minus 2 divided by 15 minus x is equal to 0. Now solve for x, we will get the position of the point from the positive charge. Therefore 3 by x is equal to 2 by 15 minus x. Now cross multiplying, 3 into 15 minus x is equal to 2x. So 15 3 is 45 minus 3x is equal to 2x, or 45 is equal to 5x, or x is equal to 9 centimeter. So therefore the point O is at a distance of 9 centimeter from the positive charge, at which the potential due to the two charge system is 0. If I write it in terms of meter, it is 0.09 meter. If the same problem is twisted, that is, at what point from the negative charge the potential is 0, if they ask like that, then obviously we have to take this side as x. It doesn't matter. Okay. So what is the distance of the point from the negative charge? Obviously, since from here to here it is 9, now this distance becomes obviously 6 centimeter. Now x becomes, it is 9 centimeter. Now this distance becomes 6 centimeter. It is the first case. Okay. Now second case, case 2. We will assume that the point O, it is outside the charge system. For that one, let me write another diagram. Here is the positive charge 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb. Now here is the negative charge minus 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 coulomb. They are separated by a distance of 9, as a distance of 15 centimeter. Now let us assume that the second point is towards the negative charge. Second point is towards the negative charge, at which the potential due to the two charge system is 0. Now this point R is at a distance of x from the positive charge. Then what is the distance of this point from the negative charge? It is x minus 15. That is the second case. Now here also once again, the potential due to positive charge plus potential due to negative charge at the point R is 0. So once again writing the terms, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught charge 3 into 10 to the power of minus 8 divided by distance is x plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into the second charge is negative, we have to write the minus sign also, since we are calculating the scalar quantity potential, and the distance x minus 15 is equal to 0. So 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught and 10 to the power of minus 8. If you take common out and cross multiplying, it becomes 0. Therefore, we left with 3 by x plus into minus 2 divided by x minus 15 is equal to 0. Therefore, solve for x. Now 3 by x is equal to 2 by x minus 15, cross multiplying 3x minus 45 is equal to 2x. Therefore, x is equal to 45 centimeter. Now it is the second point at which the potential is 0 due to the two charge system. Therefore, from the positive charge, the point R is at a distance of 45 centimeter. If I write it in terms of meter, because if we want to write it in SI units, it is 0.45 meter. Then what is the distance of that point R from the negative charge? It is obviously x minus 15, that is 45 minus 15, it is 30 centimeter from the negative charge. Now we'll solve the same problem for competitive examination point of view. That means we have to find the point between the two charges at which the potential is 0. We use a simple trick here. Now what is the total distance is given? The distance d is equal to, or r is equal to, distance r is equal to 15 centimeter. What is the ratio of the charge? So q1 is to q2, it is 3 is to 2. For the time being, neglect the minus sign here. Okay. So sum of the charges becomes the ratio, sum of the ratio of the charges. Ratio of charges, sum of ratio of the charges, it is 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Now divide this distance in the 3 is to 2 ratio. That gives the position of the point at which the potential due to the 2 charges is 0. Now look here, for the positive charge, the ratio is 3. Therefore, obviously, if I take this distance as x is equal to, for the positive charge, it is 3. Now total charge ratio, it is 5, and total distance is 15. So 1 is 3 is it is 9 centimeter. Now look here, we have got the same answer, 9 centimeter. What is from the negative charge? It is 15 minus x. So its ratio is 2. Sum of the ratio is 5, and total distance is 15. Therefore, it is 6 centimeter. Now this is applicable for the point it is lying between the two charge system, but it is not applicable for all the cases for a point outside the charge system. Like this, we have to work out certain tricks while solving the problems in competitive examinations.